So welcome to Mamut Academy. Today's course that we're going through is the setting up of your company on the Mamut AccountEdge or AccountEdge Plus or the Network Edition. It doesn't matter which one, this course covers the details for all of those products.
Brilliant.
So let's take a look then at what we're actually going to go through today. So today is the very first course. I'm assuming you don't know anything about the system, and we're going to start from scratch. So the very first thing that we're going to look at is actually navigating around, it says MYB, but it's the Mamut software now.
Okay.
We're going to then learn how to create a brand new company on that system.
Okay.
We'll then learn how to actually set up the accounts list, which is another name for nominal ledger. But basically what we try and do is we try and keep away from accounting terms as much as possible. So we call it the accounts list in that way.
Okay.
We'll then learn how to actually set up customers and suppliers and employees onto the system as well. And then finally, we'll have a look at entering in some historical and opening balances as well. Now, Stuart, has your system actually been set up for you already?
Yeah, it's on the system. I mean, basically, I downloaded it and I've been playing with it basically. And I was previously using Sage 950.
Okay.
And just got fed up of paying the 500 quid support basically. And I was looking around and I wanted something more for the Mac. So hence that's how I found you guys.
Right.
So I'm reasonably, where I'm at so far. I've whether I'm doing this right. To be fair, I mean, but basically I've set up most of the client base. I've set up most of the suppliers.
Right.
I've put on sales orders.
Right.
I've put on, created purchase orders through the sales order side.
Right.
Now, where it gets a little bit fuzzy in a sense, as far as I'm using the system.
Yeah.
I've done the opening balances.
Right.
So I mean, I think a lot of the stuff, I think we sort of there with it, but it's just knowing how to do it the way you guys are.
Right. The official way, if you like.
Yes.
Right. Okay, well, from what you've just told me, it seems as though, you're a fairly competent user, you know kind of what's going on, but you just need some clarification to sort of make it feel better in your own mind.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I can see it works. There was a couple of things that I was messing around with yesterday where I had a purchase order, I put the kit into stock.
Yeah.
I went to allocate it,
yeah.
And I really only wanted to do sort of like 50% of it, but it sort of like wouldn't let me do that,
Right.
or the way I was trying to do it was wrong, and it just come out wrong. If you know
Right.
what I mean.
Okay. Those sorts of things I won't actually be able to take you through today because this course, you see, is looking at getting all the information in there in order to actually start running your company on the system,
Right.
which is actually the second course along as well. So I won't be able to show you all of those things, but obviously we can talk about that other course as well.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the things that we're going to be going through. Please do remember to take notes as we go through these items.
Yeah.
But remember, of course, I will be sending you the recording at the end.
Right.
Okay, so let's actually move over then to a demonstration in the software. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my application with you. So in just a moment, you'll be able to see my computer screen.
Brilliant, yeah. Got it.
Okay, so hopefully you can see AccountEdge now, can you?
I can, yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I can, yeah, no problem.
Hello?
Oh, God, hang on.
Hello, Stuart, can you hear me at all? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, I thought I lost you there.
Yeah, you did. I mean, I was talking, but it just didn't come through. I was just typing an email to you.
Oh, right, okay. if something does happen and you can't hear me, you know the chat area in this little window. If you type it into there, that will work better rather than sending me an email. To be honest.
Right. Okay. I did try that when we were trying to get the communication. It wouldn't let me in that box.
Right.
Never mind. Okay.
Okay. Right. Okay. So let's start right at the beginning. This is the first screen that you sort of see when you open up MYOB, open up Mamut AccountEdge.
Yeah.
And you've got a number of options here. You can open an existing company file. You can find your company file. You can create a new company file. And also what you can do is, can you see this Explore button down the bottom? This will actually take you through to the sample file, which is just a fictional company on here that you can then go into. So I'm just going to click into there, in fact. We're going to go into the sample file to begin with.
Okay.
For the sample file, there's no username or password, so you just click OK.
Yeah.
And it will take you through into the software. So here we have it, the Mamut software.
Yeah.
Now, what we'll do is we'll take a couple of moments just to sort of familiarize ourselves with what we're actually looking at, how it all sort of works, and how we navigate around the software. So the first thing that you'll need to know is about the focus areas, the command centers, sorry, which you can see across the top.
Yeah.
So you can see that I've clicked into accounts. That changes the information in the white box to reflect all the different things around the accounts. I can then click into banking, and then I see everything relating to banking, where I can spend money, I can receive money, I can reconcile my accounts, etc. Under the sales, I've got everything relating to the sales, so I can use my sales register, which contains all of my sales. I can then enter new sales. That's different types of sales as well, like quotations or orders. I can receive my payments for those sales. I can print out or email invoices and statements to my customers. So everything relating to sales is then under this sales command center. The purchases then works in the same way. We've got a purchases register which contains all of the purchases that we've put on the system. We can enter purchases into the system and then pay our suppliers. We've then got our stock control. So over here, this is everything relating to the stock that we sell. So by the sounds of it, Stuart, you're actually stock-based, aren't you? You sell stock items.
That's right. Yeah, mainly.
Right. Could I just ask what it is that you sell?
It's electrical wholesale equipment, more office fit out stuff, which is like underfloor buzz bar, desk power.
Oh right.
So it's associated equipment to really the office function, really.
I see. Okay. So the command center here for stock control looks after all of those features. And then we have the card file on the right-hand side, which is basically a list of all of your customers and suppliers and employees on the system.
Okay.
And you've got a contact log, a reminder log. You can print out labels, and you can create mail merge letters and things as well.
Okay.
So these 5 buttons across the top are your main navigational tool to go around software and to see all of these different things. Now, your second most important navigational tool is actually down the bottom here. You can see that we've got 4 different options. We've got to-do list, we've got find transactions, reports, and analysis. Now, each one of these, if you hold down the arrow, you can see a list that then appears. So I've got things like my reoccurring transactions and things of that nature that I can have a look at. Find transactions allows me to find a transaction even if I know very little information about it. So I can look as to which account it affected, which customer or supplier was it, which item was it that I sold, which invoice number was it, etc.
Okay.
The next one along is the report. So you've got different areas of your reports that you can choose. So all the reports are split into these several sections that you can see. They're all fairly logical. So All my financial and management reports would appear under accounts. All my VAT things, reports and things will appear under the VAT column, etc. And then on the right-hand side, we've got the analysis. And what the analysis does is that it allows you to sort of look into your business with a bit more detail and see, how your cash flow is, how your sales are going, and actually analyze your sales in a graphical way to try and see trends and things like that across the company.
Right.
So this is known as the command panel down at the bottom, and that is a tool that you'll be using fairly regularly.
Mm.
Now, the last navigational tool, and also very important, is the menu bar or the toolbar across the top, which every package really has. So under the File menu, we've got a few different options. Now, what I'll do is I'll just run through the most important ones that I feel that you need to know about.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got opening a new file. That's a new company that we can open. Or we can create a new file, which is a brand new company on the system. You can see that we've got our backup facility there, as well as our restoring. We've got verifying company file. What that basically does is it checks the integrity of your data to make sure that every transaction is balanced and such, and make sure there's no errors on your data.
Okay.
The optimized company file, then what that runs through is checking the integrity of the database, not the data itself, but the actual database. So a database is made up of several tables with links between the tables and things like that.
Okay.
And what this does is it makes sure that all of those links are there correctly, and it basically restructures your database in a much more organized way. So that's something that you would probably run once a week, once a month, that sort of thing, depending on the amount of transactions.
Okay.
But the verify company file, you should be running that every day, really.
Right. Okay. So if he doesn't verify, you've got a major problem, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. If there is an issue with your file, the verification will point that out to you. If that ever happens, rare though it is, please do call through to support because they may be able to help.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've then got to start a new year, so you can then roll over your financial year. That's probably less important for you right now. We've then got the import data, so you can bring data in to the system. You mentioned that you're actually coming from Sage, so I know that Sage actually allows you to take out information in text files, and you can bring that same information then into this system.
Oh, right. Okay. Great.
And also you can export data as well. So actually, in fact, if you're looking to import data from Sage into this software, then what you could do is you could go into the sample file like I've just done,
Yeah.
and actually export the same data that you want to import, and that will give you this file structure, the columns in which order and things like that.
Okay.
And then you can manipulate your Sage data to look like that, then bring it into this software by going to import.
Right.
Will be no problem at all.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay. Well, that's something I haven't done yet, but yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now the list menu at the top has a number of different things. It's usually used as a little shortcut to get to a particular screen if you're in a particular screen. So, for example, I could be entering in a sale, but I need to go and have a look at my cards. Okay, so I can then jump to my cards. I can go to my VAT codes. Got reoccurring transactions there, which is quite an important feature. It saves you a lot of time by setting up transactions that happen again and again.
Right. When you say it jumps, when you go to cards, I mean, does that just bring up another window over the top?
Yeah, it does. If I go to it right now, you'll see exactly what it does.
Gotcha. Fine.
It's just opened up another window. So it allows you, if you're in a particular window, to see some other information at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the window problems, because I mean, I've been having to sort of like then go back in and go back through the whole thing again.
Yeah, exactly. So if you use the lists menu, it saves you a bit of time.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. Then under the setup menu, we have our opening balances, which it seems like you've already had a look at, but obviously we'll be talking about that a bit later on.
Okay.
We've also got our linked accounts. Now, what these accounts are special accounts, and we'll be talking about those linked accounts a bit later on. We've also got our preferences. Very important that we understand the preferences. These are the settings for the system, and you tell the system how your business runs, and it sort of organizes the settings and things according to whatever you select in there. So again, we'll be having a look at that in due course. We've then got reports, index to reports. That actually takes you to the same place that the reports down at the bottom does. Now, a lot of things are done. Sorry, let me rephrase that. You can do a lot of different things in different ways in this software. Yeah. I'm going to be trying to show you different ways, and then it's up to you really to decide which one it is that suits you the best. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the next section then. So we've had a look at navigating around. Do you have any questions about that at all?
No, I think you've answered them as I've gone really. I mean that's fine. I mean, do we go into any detail into creating your own sort of like layout on the forms or anything, or is that the next session as well?
That's actually the next session, yeah.
Okay. When is that? Do you know?
The next time it's running is sometime next month. But if you wanted a private little session, we can probably arrange that a bit earlier for you and hold it when it's convenient for you and for me.
No, okay. I mean, that sounds, because this seems to work quite well, to be fair, one-on-one, and you probably get through it a lot quicker as well, I would think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, look, we can talk about that at the end, if you like, and tell me how much that would be, and then maybe we could get that arranged.
Sure, no problem at all.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing that we want to look at then, after we've got an idea of how we move around the program, is to how we set up our own company on here. So obviously you've been through this, but I'll take you through it again and hopefully point out some things that you might not have known about before.
Sure.
So from here I can go to File and then New File, and that will actually create a brand new company for me. So this is the new company file assistant. So it talks me through, it helps me through all of this. So I'll click Next down the bottom. I can enter in my company name. So this is just a fictional company that I'm just setting up here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just enter in the information as you normally would. I'm sure you can do that. So once you've filled out that information, remember only company name and address has to be filled out. The rest of it you can add later if you want to.
Okay.
You then click Next. Now this screen is very, very important that we get this right, because if you don't get this right, you'll have to start again.
Right.
Okay. Now this is to do with your financial year. Now because it's only used to you on the phone, I might as well make it completely customized to your situation.
Okay.
Now when does your financial year start and end?
Well, it starts on the 1st of August and ends on the 31st of July.
1st of August and ends end of July.
Correct.
Okay, so what you'll be doing there is you'll actually be selecting your current financial year as being 2011 because it finishes in 2011. Okay, and then it asks, when does your financial year finish? So it actually finishes in July, so that's what you select there. And then your conversion month, this is extremely important that you get this right, because the system will not allow you to enter data before this month, and it's actually selecting the month right now. So if I selected September, it won't allow me to enter in August information. So if I want to start entering information from the 1st of August, the start of your financial year, I need to choose the conversion month as being August.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll choose 12 accounting periods. You've got an option of choosing 13 as well, where the 13th period is just for adjustments.
I'm happy to tell you I got this bit right.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. I was just stressing those points just in case you hadn't and you weren't aware of those.
Sure.
Okay. Excuse me. So we'll click next onto that, and it reiterates everything. So it's telling me that my financial year is from August the 1st, 2010 to July the 31st, 2011. That's correct. And my conversion month is 1st of August, so I will not be able to enter any transactions before the 1st of August. That also means that my opening balances will be as of the 1st of August.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll click next onto that then. It then asks for us to build our accounts list. Now, I suggest you start with one of the ones from AccountEdge. So you've got an option there, the very first option there.
Yeah.
So you can then click next and actually choose, the type of company that you are. So you could choose service or retail. And then underneath that, you can then choose what type of company you are. Now, the fictional company I'm setting up is a fictional consulting company that also does sell stock. So I'll use that type of company if you like. So I'll put in consulting firm, and what that does is that just changes around the accounts list, which you can see. I'm just scrolling through to reflect what an average consulting firm needs. It's always going to require customization, and we'll look at that in due course.
Okay.
So once I've done that, I can then click next. It's then telling me where it's actually saving my company file. Now, are you actually setting up a network edition of this software, or is it just you?
No, it's just a standalone.
It's just standalone. Okay, no problem. You won't need to make any changes here. So you then literally click next, and it actually starts to create your company file, and then asks you if you would like to use the setup assistant, or if you would like to go to the command center. So the setup assistant is obviously designed to help you set everything up, so there's no reason why we shouldn't use that. So let's click into setup assistant. Now you can see that there are actually 4 different areas that need to be customized and set up. So the very first one is actually customize. So let's take a look at what we can customize here. So this will actually talk us through lots of different options. So let's click next. So it's talking about using easy fill and expanded data entry fields and things like that. I suggest you leave those ticked.
Okay.
We then come to the way that the system works. And over here it says select and display account name, not number. Now you've used Sage previously, so I'm guessing that your understanding of accounts is fairly okay.
Yeah.
And that you probably are okay with using account numbers and names.
Yes.
So in that case, you probably won't need to select that. If you wanted to use only the account names and not the numbers, then you could obviously place a tick there.
Okay.
You've also got an option then to use item name and not item number. So I don't know how you actually work with your stock. I'm assuming that you do have item numbers.
Yeah.
Most people do, especially in the sort of electronics field. So you probably won't need to select that.
No.
We've actually got another option down at the bottom, select cards by their card ID, not card name. So this is really for those people who would like to have a customer number rather than to actually use the person's name.
Right.
Okay, but the name will always be there, but this is really deciding on how you see your lists and things appear later on.
Right.
So I'll click next onto that. Now you can create reminder log entries. This is like the contact management side of things. So you can decide, for every check that you write, you have a little reminder on that log, or for every deposit, or for every sale, or for every purchase. You simply place a tick, and then it will just add that into the reminder log for you.
Right. Okay.
So I'll click next. We've got then the aging period. So most people have 30, 60, 90, and 90 plus days. If you want to change that, you can actually change it to the different months by using month names. but generally the 30-60 days is the industry standard, if you like.
Yeah.
You click next. So it's asking that when you actually go into the file in the mornings or whenever you open up the system, do you want it to show you the to-do list? So that can be quite useful actually if that's the way that you want to operate. You simply place a tick and that setting is then enabled. So you click next and it says congratulations, we finished with this section, so we can then click close and that goes away. Okay, so I'm just going back to the easy setup assistant. Just in case I did that a bit too quickly, I got back to it by going to setup at the very top.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing that we need to set up is the account side of things. Okay, so by clicking into that, this is all wizard driven, which makes it a lot easier. Now, the accounts list is obviously your nominal ledger, which you can see here.
Okay.
Have you customized this at all?
No, it's pretty much everything on the ledger that I've got. I can't remember exactly which one I selected at the beginning, but it's fine.
It's
pretty.
pretty.
As you say, I mean, it might need a little bit of tweaking later on, but I haven't touched it at the moment. No.
Okay, fine. That's not a problem. But what I would like to show you is just how to manipulate it a little bit. There's three things that we really need to look at. One is editing, one is creating new accounts, and one is deleting accounts that you don't want. Okay, so for example, I'm looking at this accounts list and we've got our assets with the 1 numbers, and I can see that I've got buildings and improvements accounts there. Now it might be that I actually don't own any buildings, so I would like to get rid of these. So I can just highlight that like I've done and click delete, and it will just delete them at this stage. It won't allow you to delete anything which has a balance or you've used, but obviously because we've just created this file, it's got no information, so it actually allows me to delete these quite easily.
Okay.
Editing accounts is quite easy as well. We've got an account here which is called bank account. Maybe I want to actually call it HSBC account.
Right.
So what I do is I click edit, and you can see I've then got the name, so I just highlight the name. Okay, so maybe I would like to type that in, maybe the account number as well. I'm just showing you, different possibilities that you might want to use. Okay. So I type that in, and you can see that that account is now known as that account.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now you can create new accounts as well. Before I just show you the creating of accounts, let's just scroll through and see the numbering structure. So all the accounts that start with a number 1 are all asset accounts, okay? So you've got your stock accounts, you've got your bank accounts, you've got your debtors accounts, all of those sorts of things appear under the 1 numbers. Scrolling down, all the accounts that then start with a number 2 are then liability accounts. You've got things like your credit cards, you've got your creditors, you've got your VAT, PAYE, corporation tax, any other loans and things like that. They're all 2 accounts. The 3 accounts are then the capital accounts, so you've got things like your share accounts, your retained earnings and current year earnings accounts. The 4 accounts are then your income revenue streams. So here you can see that we've got consulting fees, things like that, because I selected a consulting company. But I said that I also wanted to sell stock as well. I sell computers. So what I might want to do is to actually create another account which allows for me to analyze into this other revenue stream as well. So what I need to do, in fact, is I need to look at my numbering sequence and find a free number. So obviously it's going to be 4- something because it's an income account. And maybe 1001, so it appears directly underneath consulting fees. Okay. So what I do is I click on new, and I choose the type. So obviously this is going to be income. So So it's a 4-dash number. So let's put 1001. Then I give it a new name. So I'm just going to call it item sales, but obviously I can put a lot more information in there. I could create lots of different ones for different types of things that I sell. So you might want to have an account for, I don't know, for cables, and then another one for, you know, those under desk boxes or something. You can analyze into different revenue streams in this way.
No worries. Okay.
It's always a good idea. Are you VAT registered? Sorry, you are. Right. It's always a good idea then to go into each of these new accounts that you're creating. You can see that I've just clicked into the details at the top there, and to actually put the code. So I'm choosing the standard 17.5% code, and that will mean that every time I use this account, it will actually use the correct VAT code on that.
Oh, okay. Okay, because when I've been putting items into, you know, basically stock items, if you like, or creating a code,
right,
it always refers to those all the time. So if I set it up in here, I wouldn't have to select it all the time.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's the idea. Because things like this, when you set them up, they really save you time when you're doing the running of your company.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I'll click OK to that, and you can then see that item sales is then being created into the list.
Yeah.
So as we were going through the list, we got to the 4 numbers, which is the income accounts. I can then see that I've got my cost of sales accounts.
Yeah.
Cost of sales is obviously relating to you purchasing a product which you then sell on.
Yeah.
So you could create more of those. You've then got your expense accounts, which are the 6 numbers, and here you can see that you've got all different types of expenses, and obviously you can create more expenses as well. Further down, you've then got the 8 and 9 numbers, which are other income and other expenses, and they're not used very often, really. They're just used for you know, little things like interest income or interest expense, and things like that.
Okay.
Okay, so the idea is that what you would do is you would set up this accounts list to be, you know, fairly similar to what you had on your previous system in Sage or whatever, to have the same accounts. They don't have to be numbered the same in the same sequence or anything like that, but you need to have the same accounts, especially if you've got balances on those accounts.
Yeah.
So let's assume now that we've customized this accounts list to be the same accounts list that you had before. And now what you can do is you can then click next, and then you can enter in your opening balances. So obviously you've already done this. Oops.
Yeah.
And all you do is you literally go in and you type in the figure next to any of these. So just to show you how this works, I'll just go through and enter in a couple of different things. Now, for example, I might actually have some trade debtors. I had £200 outstanding from my customers, so I'm typing that into trade debtors. Go down a bit. Maybe I've got some on creditors as well. I also owe £35. I'm just using very small figures to keep it nice and easy.
Sure.
Go further down. Maybe I've got a bank loan as well of 12,000. And I'll put in some investment as well of 10,726 pounds. Let's also add in some figures for vehicles. Let's say we've got 20,700. And let's say we've got some money in our savings account as well. I'm just trying to make it balance, you see.
Sure.
And eventually, when you've entered in all of your figures, you should see what I've done is see a 0 out of balance.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Did you get to that stage where you got 0?
Yeah. Basically, what I got to was I put the accountant done the account side of things, and basically when I was putting in the opening balance for the suppliers and the customers, it basically, once I got down to the last one, entered the last one, it basically said, yeah, everything's dandy, you know, basically you're okay now to proceed, sort of thing.
Right.
You know, so I mean, it balanced basically. That number basically deteriorated, it went all the way down, and then it equaled 0 right at the end.
Excellent. That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
So that means you've probably done that correctly. So when that's 0, you literally click next, and it finishes with that side of the setup. So you then click close, and your accounts are then set up.
Right.
Okay, then we have got to set up the sales. So let's click into sales. And over here, we've got several different things that we need to sort of set up. So let's run through this wizard again. Did you actually use these setup wizards?
No, I didn't use the setup wizard at all.
Right.
It would have been handy.
Yeah, because it kind of talks you through and puts everything into a logical order, so you can get everything set up quite easily. You were probably jumping around the system trying to find different things, were you?
Exactly right, yeah.
Yeah, no worries. I've been there, done that. Right, so let's have a look at how we set up the sales. So let's click next. Now the first thing that it's asking you is what is the default layout for your sales. Now everything that you sell is items, isn't it? But do you also sell services?
Very occasionally, it would
Right.
be nice to have that option to be able to do both. Yeah, but it sort of, well, as far as I could see, you couldn't actually have both.
You can actually.
Can you?
The way that you use both is you choose the professional layout.
Okay.
Okay, and the professional layout is actually very similar to the service layout, but it allows you to have items on there as well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. But what I'm going to do is, for the moment, I'm going to stick with the item layout, and then we'll talk about the professional layout a bit later on, probably in the next course.
Okay.
Okay. So you then click next. It then asks you, okay, so if you're going to be using, entering in information for your income in terms of services that you want to create, is there a default account that you want it to go to? So if I'm going to be entering in services, I probably want it all going to consulting fees, because that's
Right,
what I
yeah.
do. Okay, so I can then click use account, and it puts that in. I can also give a credit limit to all of my customers that I create from now on. So maybe I'd like to give a credit limit just so I can keep a track of who's paid me and how much is outstanding and things like that. So I'll type in 5,000 there and click next. I then make sure that VAT codes are correct. So obviously I need to make sure here that I've got standard and standard as well for the carriage. Then click next. It then asks you what payment method do you want to select as default. So how do most of your customers pay you?
Well, check or backs, basically. So.
Check or backs.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can see that there's no backs in here. You can see that there is check.
Yeah.
But what I can do is I can actually create a new payment method as well, and actually call it backs. And it's not cash, check, debit card, or credit card, so it's other. And that then allows me to have a look in here, and it's got backs and check. So let's say you probably have check slightly more. I don't know if you do, but I'm just making that up.
You're right.
You put in that, and that will be your default payment method. It will allow you to then change that on each individual case, but it will put that in as a default. So if that happens most often, speed up your data entry by selecting it there.
Right.
Do you then give credit terms to your customers, or is it all paid up front?
Well, I mean, you know, basically I've got my products on the internet, so it's like 3 really. I've got obviously account customers and people that pay by credit card and stuff. So I suppose they're not a problem, but it's usually 30 days after month end, basically.
Right. Okay. So what you can do is you can actually say number of days after end of month.
Yeah.
Okay, so you select that, and then you put in the balance days, which is 30 days, as you said.
Yeah.
Yep. So that will then make sure that every customer that you now create has that default.
Okay.
So then let's click next again. Now it's then asking about bank accounts. So when your customers pay you, which bank account do they generally pay to? So you can see that my HSBC bank account has been selected.
Yeah.
I've got an option there to change it to whatever I want.
Okay.
Undeposited funds is then this fictional bank account, which is undeposited. You know, like it might be a little black box on my desk. I get my checks in the morning. I tell the system that I put them into my little black box. And then when I take my black box to the bank, that's when I do a transfer from undeposited funds to my bank account.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So that's fine as it is. So click next. Then we come to building the customer list. So I take it you've probably had a look at this already, although probably from a different screen. You can import customers if you've managed to get them out in a text file from Sage.
Yeah.
And you can also manually create new customers as well. So this is actually what we've got to look at. We've got to look at creating some customers. Now, you've already had a go at creating some of these.
Yeah.
It is quite straightforward, but I'd like to just take you through that just so that we can make sure you're doing it correctly.
Okay.
So we click New, and you can see that I'm creating a customer who is a company. So I can give them a name. So it was Sly Internet Cafe. So I can type that in. I can then type out all of their address details, etc., and their telephone numbers. But I'm not going to bore you with making you watch me do that.
Okay.
Under selling Sorry,
can I just say, if you can go back to the profile again?
Yeah.
I don't know whether you can answer this today, but I mean, basically, I can set up a card with their invoice address on it, no problem.
Yeah.
Does it actually, and I can't get it to do it, but I mean, I've got customers with multiple delivery addresses.
Right.
Now, it won't let you set that up at the same time as creating the card. You sort of like got to create the card first and then go back in to create delivery addresses. Is that right, or am I doing something wrong?
It's probably because it works in a slightly strange way. Let's say we've got two addresses for this Sly Internet Cafe, and I want to put those in. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let's actually try and do that for you. So 1, 2, 3 address. Right. So that's my address for this one. Let's just type in something here, something there, etc. Right? So that's my invoice address.
Okay.
But what I also have is a delivery address, and that's different from this one. So what I do is after I've typed that in, I just then go and select the next address. So I choose address 2, and then I type in my address 2. So my address 2 is called, I'll just call it address 2.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay.
Then I can go to address 3, and then I can type that in as well.
Right.
Now,
all at the same time.
All at the same time. So I can then go back to 1, and you can see it's remembered that.
Okay.
Back to 2, it's remembered that. And back to 3, oops, it shows 4 there. Back to 3, it's remembered whatever I typed in there as well.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so it's probably a bit misleading because when you drop down that arrow, everything sort of disappears, and you might be wondering, oh, what have I just done?
Yeah, I think it must be then. I mean, I know I'm jumping around here, but I mean, it must be if I try to create, let's just say I go into a new cell,
Yeah.
and I haven't got that customer already set up, and I try to create a new customer from the sales order screen.
Right.
It won't let you save delivery addresses at the same time.
Ah, right. When you're doing it from that screen, I can't remember what screen is displayed to you at that point. Maybe when we do the second course, I can probably answer that a bit more accurately then.
Okay.
But you can see here where you can enter those.
Yeah. It's just you have to do that through the card information. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I was just going over to selling details over here, because what I can actually do is I can tell the system here about certain defaults as to how this particular customer actually operates with me. And I can actually try and speed up my data entry by using these things. Okay. So first of all, we've got the sale layout. That's going to be item. Now, if I have actually customized a certain invoice, and I'll be showing you that probably in the next course, how to actually customize these invoices, I'll then be able to choose the invoice that I want to use for this customer to be printed onto. Over here, I've then got the income account that this customer is going to be used if I don't sell them items and I sell them a service. I can select it there. I can choose a particular salesperson or a memo. I can type those in, or a sales comment. I can put in their VAT number if that's appropriate. Obviously, if they were an EC customer, we'd have to put that in. So it's little details like that that we need to make sure that we're putting in. You can also see that we've got the customer terms down here that we can also amend for this particular customer.
Yeah, but you've got a default in there. At the moment, mine, I have to fill that in every time.
Right.
So I can change that after
setting the default from the easy setup wizard.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you click OK to that, and my customer has then been created. I'm going to create one other customer as well, just to make sure we're okay with that. So you click New, and this time it's not going to be a company, it's actually going to be an individual.
Okay.
So we've got Tony Hobbs there. I can then obviously type in his address details and all of those sorts of things. And I've got the same information that I can do with the selling details. But, you know, I don't need to do all of that because I've got the defaults now set up working nicely. So I can just click OK, and then Tony Hobbs is then created as a customer on here.
Okay.
Right, now, do you remember that when I was entering in my opening balances, I entered in a figure into my debtors?
Yeah.
Now, what that actually means is that I told the system that I was owed that amount of money, whatever I typed into debtors.
Yeah.
But what I haven't told the system yet is who that customer was and what the breakdown of that figure was. You know, how many invoices was it, and all of this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I now need to do. So if I then click Next, this is where I actually allocate that. So you can see that I actually allocated £200 to say that I was owed £200 as of the 1st of August.
Mm-hmm.
But I now need to tell the system who was it.
Yeah.
So what I do down here is I go to Add Sale, and I can choose a customer. So let's say it was Sly Internet Cafe.
Yeah.
And they, the invoice date at that point, or the invoice number at that point was this, so I can type that in. The date that it took place was 08/07/10.
Yeah.
Their PO number was this, so I can type that in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the amount that they wanted was £150. That's how much that invoice was.
Yeah.
So I typed that in. The VAT code on that was this, etc. So I click record, and it puts that in. So that means that £150 of that £200 has now been allocated.
Yeah.
Now the remaining £50 is actually a separate invoice for another different customer. So I go back to Add Sale. I choose the customer, and this time it was Tony Hobbs. And the date I'll leave the same, but he had £50 on his invoice, so I type that in. I'm not putting the detail of the invoice in, just the bare minimum, really.
Yes.
You click record, and then it tells you, congratulations,
Yeah.
the balance of your invoices is the same as what your debtors account is at.
Right, that's what I got.
Okay, excellent. You've been doing it absolutely right then.
Yeah, in a roundabout sort of way.
Right.
But it's achieved the same thing, yeah.
It achieved the same thing, excellent. You'll be surprised at how many people actually struggle to get to this point.
Right.
So you can see that my out of balance is 0. I'm happy with that. My debtors balance is now. So I can then click Next and click Close. And that's my sales then set up. Okay, so then we've got our purchases that need to be set up as well. So we can click into purchases over here. And this actually works in a very, very similar way, the setup wizard here, to what we've just looked at in the sales. So the purchases and the sales works in the same way, but it's just the opposite, if you like.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's go next. We then choose the layout. So probably when you're purchasing, you might want to do professional or item. I'll just stick with item for now. So that's the layout for my purchasing. So click next. Now, do I have a default expense account? Now, probably I don't, because I probably do all kinds of different expenses, and there's no particular expense I spend on more than any other. And my credit limit is probably going to be different from every supplier, so I'm not going to enter in any of those. The only reason it gives you that option is just in case you want to put a default in, but that's probably not that relevant.
Right.
So you click next, again, making sure that I've got standard in each of my VAT codes. I then go and set up my payment information. So when do your suppliers expect their payment? Now, it could be that each one of these is different, but mainly everyone offers me 30 days, so I can then say in a given number of days, I put 30 days. Obviously, you'll be able to change each individual one when you set them up.
Yeah.
So then let's go next. This is the bank account for paying our suppliers. Obviously, I can change that. I can choose a bank account or a credit card account. And then I click next. And then I create my supplier list. So this is actually created in the same way that we create our customers. So you literally go down and click new. You enter in the new name of the customer. So this is a new customer part. Sorry, this is a supplier.
Yeah.
You can type in all the address details and all those sorts of things. And under buying details, I can make sure that their VAT code is correct. I can make sure the item layout is correct, the given number of days, the supplier terms is correct. If they've given me a credit limit, I can type that in. Maybe it's only £1,000, etc. I can then click OK, and my supplier has then been created. Now, in the same way, if I had put a figure on my debtors, when I then click next, I will see that figure there. So you can see that there's £35 there.
Yeah.
So that means I owe £35. So let's say that I bought, I don't know, a cable or something from Parts R Us. So I need to again balance my creditors this time to my purchases. So I need to add a purchase. I choose the supplier's name, of which I only have one, which is Parts R Us. So put that in. What date was that at? Well, that was actually on the 10th of July, and that was for £35. So then click record, and it again tells me congratulations. So I'm assuming that you probably had the same thing on your creditors.
I did, yeah.
Excellent. So you click OK, and that's all balanced. There's no out of balance. So you can then click next and close, and your system is then set up for you to actually start using now.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so I'm just having a quick look through my notes to see if there's anything that I've missed out. Do you have any questions at this point?
No, not really. I mean, it's just it's a few little bits that, it's just the way I was doing it, which is what I thought, it didn't flow the way, I would have thought it would have done, but I'm just doing it, not the easy way, put it that way.
Right, okay.
But, no, I mean, it's function. I mean, it's pretty much as what I've done, but I've done it in a different way. Which,
right.
But it's achieved the same results, but it's, no, I mean, that's as far as I've got, really, and apart from putting the sales on and the purchases on.
Right. Okay, well, the next course, right, what that is actually called is running your company on this AccountEdge software. Okay. And what that basically goes through is how do you do your sales, how do you accept payments, how do you do your purchases, how do you bring in stock, how do I put through bank payments, how do I do my bank reconciliation, how do I look at reports. All those sorts of things are covered in that next course.
That's probably more of what I was after, really.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was probably the case, but obviously I think you found that the first session useful. Hopefully.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay, well, you've already got my my details in case you need to contact me, but What I suggest, Stuart, is that you sort of pick a date and time or something like that, and let me know when you're free, and then maybe we can arrange to have that second session. Now,
Yeah.
now the prices for the sessions are normally £50 if it's lots of people are on the course.
Right.
And normally when I just do a one-to-one, I actually charge double, but I'm happy to offer the next one as well, just on a one-to-one basis at the same price as well.
Well, that's very kind of you. I appreciate that. I mean, when are you fixed? I mean, because it's probably the next course is probably the one that I'm sort of like at really, as far as starting to use the company. So the sooner rather than later, really.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Let me just have a look at my diary. Might as well organise it right now, actually.
Yeah, if we can, that'd be good.
Right. Okay. How does Monday afternoon sound?
Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that should be fine. It should be okay.
Okay, so let's say Monday afternoon about 2 o'clock.
Yeah, Monday being the 27th, yeah?
That's right, yeah.
2 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's fine. How do we go about payment?
That's a good point, actually. What I'll do is I'll get one of my sales guys just to give you a call to take the payment during the week then.
Okay. I think it was George who, basically took the sale for the software.
Yeah, exactly. I've got you booked in. Sorry, what was your company name, Stuart?
It is Power Data Management.
Tower?
Yeah, Power.
Power, right.
Data Management. All separate words.
Right.
Limited.
And can I just take your email address as well, just while I'm entering the
Yeah, of course. It's S for sugar .potter, POTTER.
Yeah.
At PDM.
Yeah.
-LTD.
Yeah.
.co.uk.
Okay, excellent. I've got you booked into my diary, so that will definitely go ahead. I'll get my colleague to give you a call to arrange that payment, and then I'll speak to you and take you through the training next week.
Brilliant stuff. Well, thanks very much for your help.
No problem at all. Speak to you soon.
Okay. How do I log out of this, or does it just log out and it's done?
I'll be ending the meeting in just a second, so it will all disappear, and the voice and everything will end now.
Right.
As well.
Okay. Brilliant. Excellent. Well, thanks a lot, and I'll speak to you Monday.
Okay. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.